Okay, delighted to be say I'm joined by Anthony Brady of the CIF. Anthony, I have to start every one of these with first question is how are you, how's your family, and how are you coping with the situation? I suppose is the best place to start with this.
Yeah. All well and safe so far, thank God. Look, everyone's doing what they have to do and staying indoors, and no, thank God it hasn't touched any of my family yet. I'm sure it's nearly inevitable that it will hit some home at some stage, but no, all good so far. What about you, Ciaran?
Well, we're all making changes. I suppose this is coming. We're coming live and exclusive here from the kitchen table, which is a change. So listen, like everybody, making changes, making adjustments, asking the wife to take the kids for a walk while we do this stuff, and then ducking in and out of work. Listen, it's a mad time. It's unprecedented is the word. It's absolutely crazy at the moment. First and foremost, I know you're as busy as most people at the moment trying to figure this out, so thanks for your time. We do appreciate it. There's a lot of guys out there, just to give a bit of context on your background, you would deal with a lot of employee disputes, compliance and employment legislation, day-to-day IR and HR issues, and there's going to be a lot of that. I would say you're going to get busy over the next few months because this is a lot of people are going to have issues around employment contracts. Before we jump into today's issues and to give a bit of context, because we will get back to normality, well, we're close to normality, I'd like to get a bit of an idea of the general HR and IR issues that you deal with. Like what would be a common dispute that you would deal with, pre-COVID-19?
Yeah. I suppose we represent employers, say, on a wide range of individual and collective disputes. So individually, you could be talking anything to just a normal wee pay issue up to an unfair dismissal with an ex-employee. Collective disputes, you could be talking, again, pay-related terms and conditions of employment up to kind of your collective agreements, whether that's just on a site basis or maybe sectorial. But yeah, it's wide ranging.
Would there be a general time frame when companies enter disputes with employees? Would it be a general time frame, but like how long is something like that, or is it case by case?
Absolute case by case. There's no such thing as, you could say, a typical dispute or time frame.
Yeah.
Absolutely, we try and get issues resolved as quickly as possible. We would say that's best practice. But it's not always the case, and say the various parties in a dispute, their expectations can be extremely far apart.
Yeah.
And you have no choice at that stage maybe to go on to the WRC, the Workplace Relations Commission, whether that's for a mediation maybe or adjudication. And what we do in the CIF as part of your membership, we represent employers, whether that's in maybe union meetings, if employees are represented otherwise, or in the WRC or the Labour Court.
Yeah, okay. What percentage of them would see court?
I suppose I wouldn't be able to put an actual percentage on it here today. Again, look, we endeavour to get any issue resolved as quickly as possible. But again, look, that just isn't always feasible. But no, look, we try and keep them out of the courts if possible.
Of course, yeah. I suppose that's a question. And what can employers do to lower the possibility of ending up in a dispute with an employee?
Yeah. So I suppose we're not just there as a resource to help resolve disputes. We're there to help try and minimise them and have employers compliant. So yep. I would say from the outset, your bread and butter is really your contract of employment. To have that in place within the legislative time frame. To have a robust employee handbook in place. So the Employment Miscellaneous Provisions Act 2018 came in March 19, and it brought about changes whereby an employee has to have their 5 core terms of employment within 5 days in writing. So they are the employee's name, the employer's name, the employer's address, the expected duration of the contract, the rate of pay, and the hours of work broken down into daily and weekly hours. They have to have that within 5 days. And before that, an employer just had to give an employee their main statement of terms and conditions of employment, which is their contract, within 2 months. So now we're saying to be compliant with both acts and to kind of hit two birds with the one stone, we'd say to issue your contract inclusive of the 5 core terms within 5 days. To have your employee handbook in place. And it's not just enough to have it in place. I would say you'd want written confirmation from each employee that they have received and understood the terms of the handbook. Yeah. And having these in place really is your foundation. Employers, they'd be surprised at the actual importance of these when you do get to a dispute. That you have these policies and procedures to rely on.
And that sort of would lead me into the next question, because I imagine the standard employment contract has going to be turned up on its head. Well, what's gone on here for the last month, and I suppose, how has COVID-19 affected the standard employment contract? What's the implications of this?
Yeah. Look, I suppose every business across Ireland has been affected. As you said at the start of our call, it is unprecedented, absolutely unprecedented. And in terms of the employment contract, it's had a significant impact in that the number of workers that are on a period of temporary layoff now at the minute. The two of us here, we're working remotely. If at all possible, it's great that we have these facilities like Skype and Zoom and WebEx and all of that you can try and, as much as possible, keep to your day to day.
Has the industry, as far as you can see through the CIF, has the industry come to a stop?
Yeah. Look, it pretty much has. Bar, say, them couple of contractors who are involved in essential works in relation to COVID-19.
Yeah.
When there on Friday evening, when Taoiseach Leo Varadkar came out with the announcement that obviously all non-essential work has to stop, employers and contractors, they had to act as fastly as possible. Sorry, Ciaran.
Yeah, all right.
Whether that was Saturday morning or maybe Monday at the latest to tie down sites and to get everything kind of closed up as quickly as possible. We don't know how long this is going to go on for.
Yeah.
But since then, it's really come to a stop.
Is there anything obviously since Friday, let's put ourselves in the employer's shoes. Is there anything he can do now to look at these contracts, to make adjustments to these contracts to avoid a dispute?
To avoid a dispute now. Look, I would say for employers, there's so many employees out there now who are on layoff or who are on reduced hours. There may be employees now who have never availed of a state benefit before. And really, understandably, their big question is, how much are they going to get paid now, week to week, during this time? So I would say for employers, really to be as helpful as possible through these times, whether that's directing them directly right to where they can avail of this benefit, where the application form is, how you do it online. And then, look, there is going to be cases at the end of all this when we're back to normality. Hopefully, it won't get out of hand, but there will inevitably be some cases. And I'd say in that instance, I'm talking really for CIF members, and we can talk about that maybe a bit later. I would say once you get notification of a hearing, come to us directly as quickly as possible, and we'll put a plan in place really to put a defence together.
Is that advice that you offer, is that only available to CIF members, or do you have an initial sort of session that you can do with companies before they become members?
Yeah, well, the CIF, it is a membership company, and to give out specific advice from my own department, from the IR department, companies would have to be members.
Yeah, okay.
Look, if somebody is interested in membership, of course we'll have a conversation with them and kind of see where they're at. But to get into the likes of a case, they would have to be a member. Yeah,
okay, fair enough. You touched on something there was state benefits, and I suppose what state benefits would be available to employees during this time? Yeah,
look, I suppose in my own opinion, the government have been excellent, really, in this regard over the last couple of weeks. So I suppose if we start with the illness benefit, it's available, and it's a rate of €350 per week. It's available for anyone who is medically certified to go into self-isolation. That's available for 14 days, or for anyone who contracts the virus for the period of their sickness. And then for anyone who is out of work or has lost work during this pandemic, there is it's called the COVID-19 pandemic unemployment payment, and it's for €350. That's where employees apply directly for that. It's a simple one-page application. They can either do it online through their MyGov ID, or they can send it off by free post. And then what employers have probably heard a lot of over the last week is the temporary wage subsidy scheme. And look, that's where employers can keep employees on their books through the payroll throughout this crisis. They do get a subsidy reimbursed by revenue. There is certain criteria that the employer has to meet to avail of this scheme. And I would say, look, if it's something that employers are interested in, to check revenue.ie, see if you meet the criteria, and any members who want to discuss it further.
I mean, that's brilliant. That's actually great. We'll definitely be pushing that information out to our lot as well. So, I mean, what do you see big changes coming into the traditional employee contract here, traditional HR? I suppose when we even look at HR as a subject in our industry, a lot, especially the smaller guys, they don't tend to look at these as a big issue in the business, and therefore, I suppose you know better than most, it only becomes an issue when it's an issue. I suppose, what do you see big changes coming because of this? Do you see a big shift now in the employment contract because of situations like this?
Yeah, I'd always say prevention is the best cure, if at all possible, and having these measures in place. One thing that may have been highlighted to employers is the importance of a temporary layoff or a short-time working clause within a contract. And if employers didn't have that, they may have had to have sought agreement for employees during this time to go on to a period of layoff. Look, we'd have them ourselves, and any advisors would have them in their standard contracts, but I'm sure there's a lot of companies out there that maybe didn't have them. It's one thing that, look, there'll be learnings. Of course there'll be learnings from this. But that's one thing that kind of stands out for me.
I think across everybody's business now, even in our own, the best thing we can do is surround ourselves with good advisors. You guys do offer great advice around this, so I mean, I would recommend people going and having a chat with you if they feel this is going to become an issue. But there's also a lot of other services you guys offer that people should be looking at now and should be availing of. If people want to contact you directly, Andy, to speak about this, where could they contact you?
Yeah, I'd say the best way is just through the main line. It's 01406 6000. Anyone interested in membership can, of course, just ask for the membership team. Anyone who wants to have a conversation with me directly, ask for myself, Anthony Brady, and we can have an initial conversation. If membership is something you'd be interested in, I'll absolutely put you on the right path.
Yeah, brilliant. Anthony, listen, thanks very much for your time. We do appreciate it. I think any bits of help and any bits of snippets of advice we can get out there to people who are going to be in uncertain times, it's a great help. So we really appreciate you giving your time to this.
No problem at all, Ciaran. Yeah, nice chatting to you.